This is Pastor Troy right here. Get ready for what we call something incredible. It's called the Best of Season 3. Our executive producer, Donna Kroniski's gone in the files. She's dug around, looked at your comments, and she's picked the best of Season 3 to throw back at you. So over the next few weeks, get ready. It's coming up right now. The first of, the second of, and a whole season of nothing but the best of Season 3. Get ready as that episode rolls now, and don't worry, we'll have new Season 4 episodes coming at you very soon. Be praying for us. We'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy. You've been on the dock. Now get ready for Season 3 Best of. And you're with Pastor Troy here on the doc.org every Tuesday and Thursday dropping. Donna's over there celebrating. She's been trying to figure out how to get into the show without blowing it up. And she did it without blowing it up. So hooray. Give yourself, hey, can we have some sound effects? Just go ahead and give yourself sound effects. There we go. Sound effects. On the doc.org every Tuesday and Thursday, launching new episodes. You don't want to miss any of them. Get out there. We're all about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. We're in an incredible series right now where people have been in some very deep stuff. And this show is about getting you out. And this is a show that'll get you out no matter where you're at. We got some good hope coming towards you. Go to YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. No matter where you're watching us, find a second platform. If you're on YouTube, go get Spotify or iTunes, depending on which kind of phone you got, because that way you can share in different mediums with people. Go find us on Rumble, someplace else. But we really want to focus on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. The more we get, the higher the algorithm goes. So help us out by go checking those things out. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter are our social media networks, and you can go talk to us, give your own testimony, share your own story. If you've heard Rebecca in the previous episode, and you've heard Dan in the shows we've done. This is the 5th show in the series. If you've got something similar, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd like to be in conversation with you about that. So, and if you're wanting to tell us your story, if you want to find out how to get out, we'll get you connected here. Once you find us, hit subscribe, like, notify, bug other people with our shows. Send them the links. Tell them you got to watch this. Should be cool. You want to watch it. It's really cool. All right. And then would you help us out? Patreon is our app, so you can be a partner. Go to Patreon, download the app on your iTunes, on your iPhone or your Droid phone, and then find On the Dock with Pastor Troy. There's 4 ways to partner with our church program here called On the Dock, and we fund this as an independent program, so we want to invite you to come alongside us and find one of those ways to be a partner. There's 3 sponsorship levels. Maybe you have a Christian business organization or you lead something and you would like to focus on that and be a part of that, and we could spotlight that with you. There's a way in which you can be a sponsor of this show for a short period of time or even a long period of time, and we have different levels. Check that out. Go to slntalso.com. It's our first promo package. We've got more of these going to be coming down the road. Other people want to partner with us. Go to slnt.com if you can't remember our link, and you just check out using promo code OTD, and you can get these products all at significant discounts and with special shipping packages. And they are Faraday bags, different types of things. Like right here on my desk, my phone is in here and it is secure. Google cannot hear us. We've talked about that on previous shows. You can hear our testimony about that. They found us because Google was listening to us. And so they heard us griping about it, and they sent a solution to help you stop it from happening. So go to slnt.com/discount/OTD and check out the various products. They've got some cool stuff out there. They even got ladies' purses and bigger bags and different things, all kinds of configurations. Find out how you can reclaim that, because your key fob, your RFID credit cards and those things, they can be hacked and grabbed and jumped and all those kind of things. And you can stick your credit card in this pouch right here in this phone. You can put your phone in there and know it's secure if you're on a bus or in a public place where somebody could creep up on you. We've had it happen. I know some of you can tell stories about it. Go to slnt.com and take back your right to disconnect. Go to onthedock.org. Find all the links to all of our platforms I talked about. You can find links to our Patreon site, also to SLNT, and email us if you have any questions at info@onthedock.org. I'm Pastor Troy here, your host for this, along with Mother Beth. Mother Beth, how are you doing here?
I'm doing great. How are you
You're
doing?
great. You look marvelous here. I showed you. I showed.
Marvelous.
Yeah, you look marvelous. Here's our couples picture. I got our couples picture too.
That's
you look
good.
great in that. I this morning we were filming another episode and I showed this picture and I said, "Honey, your hair's darker." And she said, "Well, that's my summer hair." I didn't know women put in. I didn't know women put in different hair. You know?
No. I haven't done anything different. That's just from being out in the sun.
Oh, yeah.
It's my beach hair.
Yeah. Then we got Donna Kaniski over there. She's on the tech board and she's our executive producer and director today, both of those. So she's a dual tasking woman with no microphone. That's bad because you need to go to my Patreon and become one of our partners and we'll buy her a microphone. Hashtag what?
Bring back Donna.
Bring back Donna. We have her on camera. Her husband's in the room too. Rick's in the room, hanging out with us today in the studio. He's not on camera. He's got a face for radio, but he got a face for radio and no microphone. No.
That is not true. That's terrible.
No, Rick's one of our best leaders in the church, and Rick is normally in the tech position on Sundays, running everything for me. He's normally my guy in the booth. Now Donna is my person in here in this room. This is another world. We're in the Wizard of Oz, or whatever. So we're here, but feel free, Rick, chime in anytime over there. You just have to talk loud because you don't have a microphone, or do like Donna does. She gives me good sticky notes. They're good sticky notes, but feel free to join in anytime. We are here in a series called Taking It to the Streets Spotlight, and we're spotlighting Take Action Today. We're in our 5th show in this series. This has been absolutely incredible. I consider Take Action Today to be one of the most premier and most special ministries right now in Southern Illinois. Started in 2020. They are shooting like a rising star. You said gone from 7 to 19 full-time employees. They are addressing behavioral transformation of people that are trying to get in recovery, and they're doing it with a fresh new model. It's not an AA model. Nothing wrong with AA. There's other models and ways. It's a fresh model that takes people that have had their own recovery moment and they partner with people that want to get out too. And it's like one beggar helping another beggar find food. Charles Spurgeon said that's how evangelism should be. One beggar, one person who found grace, helping another person find that same grace. And there's a powerful model there. So we're going to talk about that in this episode on the peer counseling model. We're going to get to that point here. In episode 4, go back and listen to it on YouTube. You can find it on our archives. You can go to SermonNet and find it as well. But we're going to talk more about Take Action Today. We'll tell you more about their programs and stuff. Go to takeactiontoday.net, find out more about them. Dan was a part of our first 3 episodes as my co-host because he is helping me here and pastoring the church here, but he's also on staff with them, and he is their director of programming at Take Action Today, Dan Pyles. So Dan, you're here as a guest along with your lovely wife, who is Rebecca Pyles, the community development coordinator. Now, do you tell her? Do you make her at home call you director now? Because you weren't a director. You weren't director. What was your previous position?
Recovery services coordinator.
So do you go like, you're a coordinator? I'm a director.
He does.
I would make her do that. When I first got my doctorate, Beth would say, "Honey, come here." I said, "Dr. Honey."
That's eventually going to happen to me also.
It's Dr. Honey.
Yes.
Dr. Honey. Get that right. Roll that off your tongue. It's
Dr.
not,
Honey.
it never worked. It never worked. It never really happened. It was all up in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a very good, but together they make Dan and Rebecca Pyles, husband and wife, but both with different jobs for Take Action Today. We talked about that. And where we were in the last episode, which was powerful, is Dan and Rebecca shared their story of Dan, basically his life before he was in recovery, his life in addiction. And while we were over the break, first of all, Dan sent me a picture that he wanted to show me, and he wanted to show you, of his life before you went into recovery. So Dan, this photo that's up here, give us context for this time.
Yep. So this was pretty much when I was at my absolute lowest. I'm probably, I don't know, we're probably maybe a month or 2 away from Rebecca leaving me. Everything just crashing down. I'm about 140 pounds in that.
6'1" to 2, 140 pounds. You're less than half my weight. I mean, he's a half of a man. I mean, unbelievable. What was your weight prior to really getting deep into addiction?
About 180 pounds.
180 pounds. You've dropped significant weight, 30, 40%. Okay. Then here's what's cool. I'm going to go back one more picture. You said this when you got married?
Yep, that was our wedding day.
You're pretty thin there.
Yep.
Okay. But what we did was we took this picture and then he sent us, you just hit your 7-year recovery point, right?
Yes.
And you did that this year because I remember you just celebrating that with you. And look at this side by side.
Yep.
I mean, he fills that shirt out now.
That's great.
That is fantastic. And just the look here. Now, what's cool about it is the little girl's smile is the same. So when you said that he was a good dad the whole time, you can see that connection is still there.
Yes.
So underneath that person, you're going, that's one of those people we talked about that person in your community that's addicted or they're in their world's crumbling. That person is somebody's somebody.
Yes.
It could be their dad, their whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they saw, you said in the previous episode that when you saw yourself in the mirror, it was a transformational moment for you. And then you began to know that if you didn't do something, you're going to die. And for the first time, you had hope.
Absolutely.
And hope was a pivot point for you. What's interesting is that you have to have that to get yourself out. But your children are innocent enough that they always hope their parents are going to do well.
You know, and this photo right here, you know, one of the things that frustrates me, and it's just lack of education is what it is when you hear people say, well, if they love their kids enough,
right,
they wouldn't do dope. They wouldn't
do dope. That's a common. Yeah, when them people's on dope. You know, they get what they deserve. But your story is very clear. Your story is a story any one of us in this room could have. If you have a blown out rotator cuff and you've been working on it, they've been on meds, and all of a sudden they go, "You're done," and you've been on them for months. How many? 10 months? You've been
10 months.
Yeah, and then you go from a lot of drugs to zero drugs. There's no weaning off. There's no period off. People need to understand. Them people have had their brains rewired. It's physiologically, the receptors have changed.
Yes.
And to change those back requires pain and or time. And professional help in doing that.
Right.
Absolutely.
But you remember when the whole opioids thing started around that time, where all of a sudden you went from everybody gave you opioids to telling everybody like, you want an opioid? What's wrong with you?
Like you can't hardly get one now.
And because they're all got the brain suit out because they found out they rewire your receptors.
Well, no kidding. You got to look back in the early 2000s when the OxyContin epidemic had happened. You know, they were prescribing that for headaches.
Right. I know basic migraines.
A migraine,
and coming off it will cause a serious migraine.
A toothache. You know, you'd go to your doctor for a toothache, and you know they would write you a prescription for OxyContin.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then the next thing you know, you got grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle or me. You know, that went in for a simple procedure. Now, you know, strung out.
And, and if the pain's not there, and they all of a sudden they've gotten scared of them, but you've not been weaned off them. Then if you go cold turkey, the pain receptors go. You're in pain, and those receptors, whether there's real pain or not, they perceive there's real pain.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just the same.
Absolutely.
The nerves are firing, everything's happening. You think you're dying, and now you're looking for alternative solutions, and that's how you get into whatever. And you can be. We talked about Elvis Presley. We talked about Michael Jackson. We talk about the guy, Matthew, what's your guy from Friends that just died?
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
That's the most recent. You can be anybody of any means, and you can quickly be in trouble.
So what were you saying about, you were talking about having kids and how
Oh,
people...
well, I mean, you know, I've got to totally disagree with that statement because I loved my children more than anything.
Right.
I loved my wife.
Nothing had been rewired on that receptor.
You know,
that receptor wasn't changed, right?
I was broken.
Right.
You know, I was literally broken. And when you're broke and broken, no area of your life is going to function.
The two aren't actually related in this case because they're different receptors. Yeah. And actually, if you think about it, when you were sharing your testimony about, I either wanted to finish myself or just die so I didn't have to put my family through this anymore. At that point in time, you were actually thinking about how do I not hurt them?
Absolutely.
The other receptor.
When you look at that photo right there of my children, you know, there was a time that I contemplated, you know, if death was a better option for them, not me. I knew I was going to die. You know, like I said, I seen that train coming.
Right. You saw it coming.
I saw it coming, but I'm looking at it at this point, I'm like, if I'm dead, then they don't got to worry about me no more.
But every one of us are an injury or a surgery. It could be something simple on your back or something on your shoulder. Next thing you know, you're trying to manage that, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, you've had enough," and then your brain's been rewired. And if you don't have the right kind of physician, the right kind of care, the right kind of discipline there, that can turn anybody of any stature. It's not a black or white thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a sex thing. Anybody can have this happen. Anybody. Next thing you know, you're looking for solutions. They may be expensive solutions, hiring your own anesthesiologist, or they might be buying the local cheapest thing you can get to stick in your body to create an alternative pathway. You get desperate. And in the desperation, your mind begins to justify choices, and now you're making deals with yourself. And you're doing it to try to justify what's happening. And you mentioned the world crumbled right around you.
Yep.
And eventually it just got down to you in the mirror. So you got out, you said that you looked at yourself, saw a change. You knew that you were going to die if you didn't. And on 10/16, you said, I'm going to go to church.
Yep.
And you began a pathway out.
Yes.
Not a perfect pathway, but a pathway out. Your wife, who had separated and had drawn a line in the sand, kind of fought for you and helped you. And you said 14 days of hell. You went through 14 days of recovery.
Yes.
And day 7, you buckled.
Yes. I don't recommend that for anybody. For starters,
right?
If I
are there better choices today for that?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you're talking about opioids, alcohol. You can die from this.
It can kill you.
It can kill you.
The recovery can kill you.
Yeah. So I would strongly recommend getting into a detox. But I didn't know of any detox programs. Right. All I know is I wanted to get clean. I didn't care how I got clean. I just wanted to get clean.
But you had a strong will. You were able to do it.
Yes. But it was tough. Like I said, I tried to cave in, and my wife chased somebody off the porch with us.
The dealer came.
I just love that so much.
I think that
I was going to cave in. If she wasn't there, that's how
you were ready to tap out.
I was tapping out.
You were tapping out, but then she stepped in. So it does remind you that even when you change, you need a support system around you.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think, okay, so you start to climb out. Give us a little bit of this, and we'll get into the peer, because the peer model is what will help others climb out. Yeah. So really, there was no take action today at that time. So at that time, your first peer was your wife. Yeah. Your first peer is you're going to church. You're hearing the gospel. So tell us what helped you climb out, and what got you to the point that you might think about helping other people.
Absolutely. Number one is trusting the process. That was it. Because there was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of setbacks. There was a lot of slips. It was trusting that process and realizing every single day what mattered to me. At this point, I finally caught a vision and a glimpse of what mattered most to me. I'm starting to get a little level-headed now. I'm, starting to think a little more clearly. So those things that I cherish the most, I'm starting to get back. I'm starting to see some progress in my life. What I was watching be destroyed from me, I'm now finally starting to see to start to grow again. But it was trusting that process. I went back into a relationship with zero trust. My wife didn't trust me for nothing, and I don't blame her. I wouldn't trust me either. I had to learn how to live life over again. I didn't know how to be a husband. I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't know how to pay bills. I knew absolutely nothing. And I can remember sitting in the living room that day, and you probably remember this. I'm fresh into recovery, 1 or 2 months into recovery, and I'm feeling anxious. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm feeling here. I start getting wound up. I'm like, what's going on? And Rebecca's like, relax, dude. You're feeling emotions. You're feeling what it's like to be human again. And at that point, I'm like, man, I really don't even know how to feel in life.
Right.
And it was scary.
You're kind of in essence coming alive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And learning how to deal with those real feelings that aren't changed. Yes. The receptors are lining back up.
And this is why it's so vital in these early stages. The first 6 months of recovery, you got to have an accountability partner. You got to have somebody that you can check in with every single day, multiple times a day. I had a friend of mine, and I owe him my life. I called this guy multiple times a day, and the dude picked up the phone every single time for me.
Wow.
Every single time. Every single time. I called him multiple times a day for 6 months because I needed that accountability. I needed someone to say no.
Yeah.
I in a way, I was, I was acting like a child. I was a spoiled brat that if I didn't get my way, I was going to
It's
get
almost
my
like a
kickball.
secondary conscience. You're kind of help check in. Am I making a good decision?
Yes.
Because you're reformatting your hard drive, so to speak.
Absolutely.
You're resetting up things.
Absolutely. And you're learning this. So you need those bumper rails.
And your
so to
addictive
speak.
past is telling you, oh, jump back over here. This is familiar. Go over here.
Multiple times. And,
Is there a ghost? I don't mean this in a ghost sense because I don't believe in ghosts. I mean, I believe in ghosts, but demonic ghosts. But is there a battle against kind of the ghost of the past, pulling and pulling and pulling,
Daily.
and you can it can become deceptive to yourself.
daily. I battled with the old self daily. For number one, just failure. I felt like such a
As you look back
failure.
now, you realize your wife. I guess she was kind to you. I mean, I don't know, but when you talk about $700 a week, problem, she's going. I could have had a Mustang year one, college for kids year two. You've got to be sitting back at some point going, well, my God.
I was getting frustrated because I was like,
then you realize. I mean, you're realizing. So you're going through this. What did I do to myself? But you're also going. You're dealing with also the uncovery of how deep it was. Because he's bearing his soul. So now you're finding out everything that's down there in the bottom. So how do you handle that as he's coming out with all that stuff? And how do you keep from having? I know you can love him and stuff, but you can also begin to build a resentment.
There was.
How do you fight that? That's a challenge.
That is a very much challenge. As I sit back and I think about it now, like, I don't know how I did it. Like, besides the strength of God.
Right.
I just dealing with the lies and dealing with the struggle we went through. It was a very much struggle because, I mean, we have children. We had to worry about this. We had to worry about that. And I'm like seeing we get paid, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
So it was very hard. And then he's telling me one thing, and I'm trying to believe him, but
right. Now you're on the other side of this thing,
Yeah.
and he's looking better, and all of a sudden the pressure's off you, and you've been in a management thing. So you got to decide: do I start letting my guard down, or do I stay skeptical? And I don't see you skeptical today.
Right.
I know it's 7 years, so that's a huge transformation for both. I mean, and as you say, Dan, there could be people today that still know you and go, I know the real guy, but here's the person closest to you, she's found the grace to kind of go, man, wow. Other than God.
Right. It just, I don't know, just seeing him it blessed me.
There's a victory. You saw the victory
yes,
in it too.
I truly seen a changed man.
That's incredible.
I did. And when I truly seen a changed man, that helped me to move forward and to be able to.
So hope became a part of your thing as you saw this. But was there a delay in you? Were you behind him a couple months going like, we'll see?
I mean, can I say? I was.
You had to be.
There was a little doubt.
I think he owns that. He says he did it.
I can't say that there wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was a little doubt because I was worried.
Yeah.
I mean, going through what I go.
Well, yeah, you took a bat to the dealer's deal, man. I mean, that's worry.
Right, going through of all that stress and worry, and truly, when you love somebody.
But there's impact on you too, even though you're not involved in the deal. There's also you had to rewire yourself to compensate for things.
Right.
And the recovery. I love what you said about recovery. I always think of recovery as, well, they're getting clean, but recovery, there's a real rest because you have traumatized your body. You've traumatized people around you. You've been living under stress. And you said, you mentioned a gamer mentality. And, a gamer is a high in itself. Yep. And so your whole body is rewiring itself. So, but yours is too. You're having to rebuild trust. You're regaining a husband. You're regaining a father, and that's got to be a challenge.
And it was, I want to say something real quick. This is why it's so critical you trust that process. I'm 6 months into recovery, and in my mind, I'm thinking everything needs to go back to normal.
We're done. We're there.
Good, but I mean, when we got back together, she took me off the checking account. I didn't have access to any money. I was given a $20 a day allowance. I felt like a kid. I'm 30 years old now, or 31 at this point. I'm like, man, I want to be back on a check account. I want access to my money. I want you to loosen the reins a little bit. And then I had somebody tell me, man, you didn't destroy that overnight.
It'll take some time.
It's going to take some time, man. And that's why, I keep preaching, you got to trust the process. On this.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. I think this is not the Lord can have the moment of hope and you can have the transfiguration moment, but the repentance point doesn't mean you've arrived at being fully sanctified.
Absolutely.
So I'm a Wesleyan at heart, and the whole Pentecostal apostolic movement comes out of the Wesleyan DNA. And Wesley believed that there's a decision to get saved. You turn around, and that's the moment of justification. Mm-hmm. But then sanctification, or what he called actually entire sanctification, Christian perfection, is a life. And every day you're trying to get closer to it. And Wesley said in one of his 14 volumes, he says, I think I know a couple perfect Christians. He mentioned an old lady and somebody else he thought, but he says, I'm sure I'm wrong. I've not seen everything in their life. He says, I don't think you can get there, but that doesn't mean you're not reaching for the higher prize, trying to get better. And it doesn't ever mean you're not going to step back a couple days
Sure.
and poo-poo your pants and mess up things and fall back and have to 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward. That's part of the process. God can handle that. It's just the honesty with yourself to say, I need to keep, God's still working on me. I'm not done. So you said there was a battle. I'm done. I think I'm good, Yep. So you got to fight me taking back over and almost kind of taking it back from the Lord.
Yeah.
So there's an internal battle going on. And you're kind of having to kind of weigh this out. So wow, it's I think people understand it's a process, and I think that's recovery time. And what do you think recovery wise? I mean, there are people who have been in this longer. Maybe they've gone farther out. You about died. So what do you see as you work with people in recovery? What do you see as the time they need? I'm not saying everybody's time's different, but what do you see just a minimal time when people need to be patient, go through process, let their body heal, let their psyche, their spirit heal, what's a time frame you see before somebody can start helping others?
I would say a minimum of a year of straight sobriety,
and then you can start talking about,
and then we can start talking, because you got to talk, again, going back to what we talked about, you got to learn to live life before.
And you would still be under accountability even then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd still be talking to somebody, mentoring somebody, maybe not as frequently, but still breaking it down.
Yeah.
And
and even 7 years in recovery where I'm at now, there's still days that I wake up and it's like, okay, I got to choose sobriety today.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Because, face it, life still is going to sucker punch me.
Right.
It has.
It does everybody.
I've still got to learn to live life when life hits me, from where I used to run to dope and pills and whatnot. And now I've got to learn healthier coping mechanisms.
You recognize the triggers, but you can substitute that with things that are healthier and better process.
Absolutely. So it's a process, I would say, it's a lifelong process.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a time frame on because, it's just.
No, I understand everybody's going to be different, but a year minimum probably. It's going to take that time to recover, to get normal, to begin to build enough trust to be able to even be seen as that.
Absolutely.
Tell me, now, today we put up here, you're the director of programming. You didn't get there. This is years later. So tell us, what's the climb out? Take Action Today doesn't start till 2020. We're in 2016 when you have this moment. You spend a year or two in recovery. Where did you transition? You're not out of the recovery, but where did you transition in the beginning to be a peer to somebody else? When did you begin to give back?
Yep. So, I knew by 2017 that I wanted to do something. Right. I wanted to help people. For the first time in my life, instead of lying to people when I open my mouth, now I can finally offer somebody hope, and not hope through me, but hope through what the Lord did through me. So I was just sharing my recovery story, and I was sharing the gospel to anybody I can encounter
That would listen, yeah.
that would listen to me. I was sharing, man, if God can do this for me, man, just think what he can do for your life. And I was really hitting home on, rest, on peace, on hope, all these things, man, that we are longing for when we're in addiction.
Don't you think society in general is struggling with all those issues today?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Without, and there's other ways we're doing it. We use Netflix to pacify and deflect us. There's other things that we go to that kind of cover that. But our society as a whole is a hopeless society largely right now. There's a lack of Jesus. There's a confusion about who Christ is, and there's a confusion on sexuality. There's a confusion on gender. There's a confusion on this and that and everything today. You're not sure if you're too manly. Am I misogynist?
Oh, yeah.
Our whole society has broken us down. The enemy's used that to kind of confuse our identity. And so rebuilding identity today is very difficult.
Well, you said something powerful right there, and I was thinking it was confusion.
Confusion.
It's just a world of confusion where, man, you just don't know where you're coming or going or what's right, what's left, what's straight. This is why, it's so critical. Man, you got to read the Word of God. This is why getting in a Bible-believing church, getting into the Word of God is critical, because if you can't, you're not going to do it on your own. It's
separating that from religion.
Yeah.
Separate that from religion, because
Absolutely.
we're talking about deep relationship, a desire to feed yourself, a desire to grow greater in knowledge, to be around people that understand we all made mistakes. There, but by the grace of God go I. Jesus is a guy that redeemed a guy on a cross at the last minute.
Absolutely.
And sent him into paradise. Our God is a forgiving and gracious God. He is, and he's a God that can turn a house around and a family around. And at the same time, we have people that are very harsh that come from I won't say Christian, but a religious perspective. They can be very ungraceful, set a lot of boundaries, and almost make things very pharisaical. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that can actually create walls that you can't even get over.
Right.
And the hardest thing, when Jesus was doing all his grace stuff, they compared him to Satan.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You're Beelzebub. They're like, what? You're doing these. When he was healing people, and they were getting their testimony, they were saying you're doing this by the power of Satan.
Yep.
So if you're not careful today, people will almost curse your blessing.
Absolutely.
And so here you are. What you're saying is what turned you around was seeing the blessing of your husband come back alive.
Yes, and like I was going to say earlier, just watching him that man woke up from the time he woke up to the time he went to bed. He was reading his Bible.
Getting to know
the Word. And I really think that's kind of what helped me, because, man, seeing him transfer from a person that struggled to a man of God.
To have a real relationship with God. Yeah, I think that's in getting a hunger for his word.
And it just blessed me, because that's what I knew. I knew eventually God had a plan for him. And it just blessed me seeing him it was every single day.
So and
if he's taking that in, the Bible itself says it will not return void.
Absolutely.
How did you
at least he's taking in nourishment.
Yeah.
And it's going to make a change.
Absolutely.
That's going to make a change in itself.
Where do you intersect? How do you both get connected to take action? Where does Mike come in?
Absolutely. So me and Mike, we knew each other through Facebook. We were Facebook friends. You know how that friendship goes, though. We were Facebook friends, and I remember when Mike started Take Action Today in 2020. And I remember he was just going around getting all the information he could, talking, building.
I'm putting Mike up on the screen. This is Mike, the executive director and founder.
Mike was, and I met him at a church I was attending. He attended one of our Celebrate Recovery events and shared his testimony. And I remember it's like, man, this dude has something,
right.
But I didn't really know much. It was in 2022. A church I was going to, we were looking to start helping people. I was sick and tired of watching people die.
Yeah.
I was sick and tired of watching families get destroyed. I was sick and tired of watching, moms and dads lose their sons and daughters, and watching sons and daughters lose their moms and dads while we sat back and just talked. That's the problem. There's too much talk. There's no action.
Yeah.
We all get together. Well, we need to. Let's stop talking about it and let's start doing something about it.
Something real.
Right.
Let's do something real. Enough talk. Let's make something into action. And so my brother said, man, you need to talk to this Mike Tyson guy. And I remembered messaging him on the phone. I actually sent him a message on Facebook Messenger. Said, man, I just want to talk to you. We had about a 2.5 hour conversation on the phone. We talked like we knew each other for about 30 years. Wow. I mean, just the knowledge that this man had. I was so hungry for what he had. I mean, he could have, I'd have bought anything this man said. Like, he was just so powerful. So we had a conversation, and Mike could just tell, like, dude, I was ready to do something. I just needed a platform to be able to do that. And it was like May. I met with Mike, and Mike's like, dude, what are you doing? I was selling insurance at the time. Actually, I was an office assistant for an insurance agency here in Marion. And she was a sweet person, and it fulfilled a role, but it's not what God called me to do. A scruffy man doesn't need to be behind a desk answering the phone, taking bills, taking payments over the phone. You know what I'm saying? So, Mike's like, dude, won't you come to work for, TAT? This is what we can do. So that's what happened. July 1st of 2022, I started Take Action Today. And I'm so thankful for Mike. I love and honor that man. I do. I love and honor.
I love what he's doing. I love what they're. I love the whole vision. I mentioned he was on the show. Crystal, is she still director of operations now, or is it a new position?
She is the director of operations, and she's a sweetheart.
Yes.
She's out of Chicago. One of our Chicago people. She's got a great testimony. Go watch episode 1 or 2 about that. Fantastic.
Mike's a genius but he's humble about it. And I tell him, man, take the compliment. He's really.
I understand that.
Quick. He's quick to pass it off. But I'm like, dude, man, he really is a genius when he comes to this. And number one is God. Mike is, dude, he puts God first.
You can see that.
He puts God first.
And you can see he's got a good partner in life and his wife. And I love what they're doing. And
absolutely.
I am sold out on board. I've spent some time with him, multiple meetings. We did the shows with him. We did multiple. You connected us, and then we've had more time together. I am excited about what he's doing, where he's going, who he's taking with him. When I went to your gala, the biggest criticism, the gala was fantastic. So just listen to all my stuff. The biggest criticism I had was Mike's scared to ask for money. So I've already told him that I will help him do that in the future. I'm not scared to ask for money. I sat in that room and I watched and I've listened and I've seen, and I'm an outsider looking at it who also runs a foundation in Southern Illinois. And I'm not embarrassed to ask for money at all for him, because I've seen what it's doing, and I've seen the face on the judges, and I've seen the face on the sheriff, seen the face on the mayor. And I think people would love to support this, because there is some produce here that is evident. And it would be such an easy ask. He was too always, oh, by the way, there's a card on the table. I'm like, dude, you got a young organization because he doesn't know how to make an ask. I didn't do well asking either early when Hands Up started, but we've been going for a little bit longer than that. And I've gotten where I'm really good at calling people and say, I need some help with this. I told him, I said, Mike, I don't know what happens over the next couple of years. You may want me or may want me, but next year, if you need somebody to ask, I'll do your ask for you. Because, you get somebody else to speak, but I'll get up and say, I'm impressed. I want to give to this, and this is what I'll do.
Well, and you'll find out that there are people out there just looking
to give.
To something that is real.
There's so little like
to
this.
An organization that's really doing
there's
something.
So little. When you say, I want enough talk, action, you're right on. Because there's so little anyway counseling, recovery. Very few churches are doing Celebrate Recovery. There used to be more, it's less, because it comes with baggage. I mean, you get those people. Yep. Those people need grace, ministry. They need people to understand them, not looking down at them like Pharisees. So a lot of churches started, and it comes with conflict. It just does. It takes a pastor's time up. I have avoided in general that recovery ministry because that's not where I'm trained. I am not scared of it now at all. I'm fixing to help start a clinic here with behavioral recovery because you're here.
Well,
to be honest with you,
we have dealt. I mean, we have happily.
We've had
dealt
recovery
with
groups.
cases,
We've done stuff. We've had people on our team that have done it. You've got to have people called to that ministry
It's just
that
not
understand that.
Yeah.
I'm a church planter, but I understand to plant the church, you're going to have to use all kinds of people. Now you got to bring some people on board that understand that take action. Enough talk, take action. I can absolutely relate to that.
When you guys keep talking about the gala. And you said, you were amazed to see the judge's support, the sheriff's support, the mayor's support.
Everybody.
You're talking about people that witness the system.
They saw it
every single day.
Right.
They know the system's
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah.
And that's in Southern Illinois. So we have the least amount of resources. We're not accessing them. We don't get much. So it's even less hope down here,
Yeah, so when you see a judge, that
glowing,
has literally dealt with the same individual 3 or 4 times in a single year, at this point, they're just begging for hope. They're needing hope.
They need hope too.
They need hope.
Yeah.
Right? So they see this organization that's willing to say, hey, we'll get our hands dirty. We'll stop talking about it and start producing action. Right. And that's what Take Action Today is all about. It's in the name of it. We're taking action today.
Right. So if you've got judges and police officers that are coming to your gala and willing to, and happy and excited about it, I'm telling you, there's people out there waiting to give money to it.
In our ministry, Hands Up, we do a lot we do education, medical mission, and stuff like that. And we've got doctors and nurses and those kind of people coming to our stuff. That's how we knew we were beginning to break down walls. We're selling tables to clinics and doctors, and they're paying people's way. You get the buy-in of that community. You've got the buy-in of the community you need to break down behavioral walls.
Right.
And what's funny is we're working with the Heron House Hope here, which is working with us, and they're breaking down walls of hunger and giving people education choices. And we start putting our clinical abilities with your behavioral counseling abilities with the House of Hope's work. Southern Illinois is beginning to have some things wake up here.
Well, when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
yes,
he talks about 3 things that are essential. We need food, we need shelter, and we need some source of like income or housing, something like that. So, when you look at somebody that's struggling with addiction, there's one of those 3 areas. A lot of times they're struggling with. A lot of times they're food insecure. Or they have housing insecurities. Right. They have financial problems. So when you can come together as an organization and you can meet that need of food, when you can meet the medical needs, and now we can meet your behavioral health needs and substance use disorder needs, now you're creating an environment that's conducive for recovery. Does that make sense?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
And I think what the magic of this is, and I don't do magic, but the magic of this is in Southern Illinois, we are not in Chicago.
No.
The magic of this is we are in Southern God-fearing Illinois. And though there's problems in our state, you can still talk about Jesus in this place. And you have in Take Action Today, in Hands Hope Foundation, in the Heron House Hope, you have 3 organizations that are without any apology lovers of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
Witnesses to Jesus Christ, working with churches that are sold out to Jesus Christ and pastors and church communities sold out to Jesus Christ. And I believe Maslow's right on those needs, but when you circle all that around, the hands of Christ in the middle of that can make it transformative. You can fill those needs, but the greatest need is hope in Jesus. And so I think our organizations can begin to fill those basic needs. And if we can do it in the name of Christ, people can grab a hold of the bigger picture, that you were born for something. You have a purpose.
Absolutely. Well, Paul told us in Colossians, everything you do, whether, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said, whatever you do, whether in deed and word, you do it in the name of Christ. Yeah. So we are ambassadors of Christ. So, I might not be at Take Action Today. I might not have a microphone in my hand, and I might not be preaching Jesus, but my actions are reflecting the words of Jesus. I don't have to sit there and preach Jesus to you if I'm helping you out. My actions should show you and should reflect that of Jesus. The same at Heron House of Hope, the same at the Hands of Hope. We don't have to necessarily have to megaphone and scream Jesus.
Right.
My actions should
take action. You've got to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got to do it in a real way that people can begin to see it, get a hold of it. And when you saw your husband begin to change, it gave you the hope you need to go to the next day for another change and another change. It's in the realness. It's not in the words or the fake and the fraud. And I think that's
you'll win more people to Christ that way than you will sit there, well, we're a faith-based organization. We're going to beat Jesus over your head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to win more people to Jesus just by being you and doing you.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to come back here and do a bonus round. I want to get into that next. I think you guys, right now, you're moving up. You're doing peer counseling. Peer counseling. Give us the explanation of that real quick before we wrap up this piece,
real quick,
and then we'll go into the bonus section in our next session.
When you look at peer counseling and you look at peer recovery services, the very broad, generic definition is an individual with lived experience, the person that's walked the walk and talked the talk, walking beside you and allowing you to be a participant in your own recovery. We're not going to walk it for you. We're not going to talk it for you.
We'll walk beside you.
We're going to walk beside you. We're going to walk with you.
And there's somebody that has experienced what you're going through. Maybe not your own pathway, but they've had their own story.
Absolutely.
And for you, they're a real person.
Well, as the old saying goes, if you want to be a millionaire, who do you talk to?
Somebody that became
talk to other millionaires,
right.
I don't talk to the guy that's making, and no offense to this, I don't talk to the guy that's making $12 an hour. You know what I'm saying? If I want on steps to be a millionaire, it's the same way in recovery. If I'm sick and tired of recovery, I don't go talk to an individual that's never, has never done dope before, has never done drugs. Not saying that person can't help me. But man, when somebody has literally walked the same path you've walked.
So Take Action Today is designed to step in when somebody's began to make that decision to turn.
Yes.
So if they're not at that decision threshold yet, you're there, they're seeing other people change. They're seeing a guy like you that should be out there with them. You're not with them. Somebody else, the 1 years, they're not with them anymore. They begin to see proof in pudding, so to speak, in their community. And they go, I could do that. I want to tell a story real quick. I shouldn't. No, I'm going to save it for the next episode. I'm going to come back and tell them. No, I am. It's too good. And just remind me I've got a story and it's family. Okay. But they see change, real change, and they take a risk, and then they can reach out to take action and say, I need that person to walk beside me.
Absolutely.
But they can't walk beside you until you decide to walk that direction. So there's got to be a turn. There could be failures in that turn, but that's where you guys step in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess you're trying to create a living witness in the community that if you'll take the chance, there would be somebody there for you. Because in the past, there's not been a lot.
Right.
Not everybody would be like you, Rebecca, and pray and pray and pray and stay and stay and stay and be tough and take a bat and beat somebody away. Take action today. If you've really made that mirror choice, we're going to talk about mirrors in the next episode.
Absolutely. And then one more thing, Pastor, and I'm going to stop. Even when you talk about families of those in addiction, oftentimes they're the most neglected individuals, but they go through just as much as of addiction as that individual that is actually, involved in it. What Take Action Today does is we even have services to where we can even work with the families of those that are in addiction and offer them peer recovery services because they need hope.
There's a recovery there too, right?
Absolutely.
So like Alcoholics Anonymous.
They have Al-Anon.
Al-Anon.
There's a version of that in the peer world as well.
Absolutely.
And so
Take Action Today offers that.
Rebecca, does Take Action use some people like yourself to help on the other side?
Yes, the families. That's exactly what.
On the other side. So you're going to pair them up with somebody that says, I know he doesn't deserve our trust, but here's how you begin to rebuild that.
Yes.
Over time and rebuild yourself, because I would say recovery would mean there's recovery there needed too, because there's got to be exhaustion, frustration.
Right, because we want to see families saved also.
Also saved.
We would like to see the
restoration.
total restoration.
Absolutely.
TakeActionToday.net. Go find it. We are going to have a bonus episode for you here. You don't want to miss it. Just come back on our next every Tuesday and Thursday. You're going to get that real quick. We're not going to leave this place without it because we got some things that we got to talk about to wrap this up. It's been incredible. Taking it to the streets spotlight has been just phenomenal. I'm looking for my slide here. I'm having a slide moment. There it is. Taking it to the street spotlight. We'll be back in bonus roundtable part 6. Roundtable bonus is kind of, we don't do it all the time, but for a lot of our really featured episodes, we like to do a roundtable where I've written so much stuff here. There's just a few things I need to come back and clean up and clean up on aisle 3, because I think it's going to be a bonus here. So we're going to do that in a minute and have a good time with it. So you check back with us if you're out there. onthedoc.org. Go check us out every Tuesday and Thursday. You don't want to miss this next episode, but go back and watch the first 4 in front of this one and get the others. And I need you to start sharing this with people that are in similar situations. And maybe somebody that's in moment of addiction of some sort can't take this right now, but maybe the person that you see that's suffering could hear it, and it would give them hope that there is a way out. They can start the process. Can the recovery program that you do handle drugs, alcohol, other kinds of addictions as well?
Everything.
It doesn't have to be what you went through. If you have an addictive behavior that's destroyed your life,
absolutely,
you can start there.
Absolutely,
because addiction is addiction.
Right.
Absolutely, there's process addictions that no one ever talks about.
That's right.
Shopping.
Right.
Things like that.
Go to onthedoc.org, find out watch the program, info@onthedoc.org, email us, and then YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Get these links to these programs. Donna puts these up. She works hard to put them up. Get the links to the shows, and you put those on your social media and tell your friends that are having trouble with this, or your friends that are struggling, living with somebody in this, or they've left somebody and they would like to see their family restored. Be loving enough and Christian enough to offer them a branch of hope. You can't make them take it, but you can offer them Christ. That's what we're supposed to do. 1 Peter 3:15 says, be prepared to give an answer for the hope that's within you, but do this with gentleness and meekness. You can offer this to people that are being results of it, people that are in it, but get out there and look, you've been in the seats with us. We want you to get out of the seats now and get off the dock and out into the deep. Get out there and share this with some other people. We're giving you a tool to do that in an incredible episode here. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all these other things. We'd love to hear your testimony on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Don will put that up in the lower thirds for you. Oh, there, got it full screen. That's fine. Full screen. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear how we can help you. We want to intersect with you. I promise you, if you want to write and talk to Rebecca, write us. We'll get you connected to her. If you want to do that, you can go to takeactiontoday.net and talk to her. She works there. And so does Dan. You don't have to go through us. So we've given you the resource to do that. Hit subscribe, like, notify, comments, all the things. Don will have some stuff in the show notes about how to link to their website. Check that out. We'd always love to have you as a Patreon partner or sponsor, and you can help us expand the show. 4 levels of partnership, 3 levels of sponsorship. And we always would love to have you at Community Faith Church. If you don't have a church home, please find a God-fearing church home where you can get in the Word and you're encouraged to grow. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about a place where you can explore Jesus and grow in grace and the knowledge of Him, and your family can. We'd love to have you here. If you don't have a church home in Southern Illinois, reach out to us. Watch us online if you want. We'll help find a place where you're at. Even if you're around the globe, we have friends everywhere as a part of the On the Dot Network. So reach out to us. I'm Pastor Troy. We're fixing to sign off on this episode, but we told you earlier we have a new partnership in SLNT. Remember, let me show you once again, slnt.com, promo code OTD. Go sign up for there. Be a part of our program. Get your Faraday bag, and you'll be cool like the rest of us. As we wrap up and get ready to go to episode 5, we're going to run our incredible commercial. You can watch that as we go out and before ending credits. We'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy. Mother Beth, thank you. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. It's been an incredible episode, and we'll have you back just here real soon. And Donna, thank you for all your hard work. Rick, you've done good staying awake, and we love you all. We'll see you back on the next episode of On the Dock. Now, check this out from slnt.com. Don't forget promo code OTD.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases, but with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.